Almost any complex object type in Flash Professional can be broken into simpler pieces. This lesson looks at how to perform this action with a variety of visual object types. So here I have a file breakapart.fla, and this file includes a number of different element types. For instance, we have this object here, which we can see as a bitmap. We have this object, which is a classic text field. Here we have a group. And then we have a button symbol instance. So what is break apart? Break apart will always break something down one step simpler than it currently is. Some objects can only be broken apart one level, while others may be broken apart in multiple levels. So let's go through each one here. First, the image. We have to be sure that the image is selected, and we go to Modify, Break Apart, or as you can see, there's a keyboard shortcut here. So hitting Break Apart on an image actually breaks it into a shape. So you can see from the fill of the shape that the fill is actually the bitmap image that we have imported, and it shows up here as well. So if we go into here, we can see that the fill of this shape is set to type bitmap fill. We could always choose linear gradient, solid color, and so forth, but bitmap fill is something interesting because it'll actually take a bitmap that exists within the library and use that as a fill. You can also import something quickly from here as well. If we go into our library, we can see that an imported image, such as a bitmap, will show up in there. So breaking apart an image to a bitmap breaks it into a shape. We can't break this apart any further. If we were to actually draw out a shape fresh like this, we could even click on that, change its fill type from solid color to bitmap fill, and we can choose that particular image. So you can see here it's sampled from her hair. The next object here is a text field. So if we break apart this text field by going to Modify, Break Apart, we can see something really interesting. It's actually broken it apart into many smaller text fields, each containing one letter. So using this, we can then move those letters around, and they're actually still editable. We can also further break this apart. So Modify, Break Apart, and now we can see that each particular character has broken apart into a shape. So basically, text character outlines. So when text is a shape, we can use something like the subselection tool and modify any of its points. So we can get sort of creative with this if we want to. This next element here is a group. So breaking apart a group is very similar to ungrouping. It's basically going to do the same thing. So let's break apart so we can see that the group contained 3 distinct shapes. And since they're shapes, we really can't break them apart any further. Now you can group anything. So I could group all of these elements on the stage together if I want to. And then if I break it apart, they will break into their individual elements, which I can then further break apart if I want to. And that's very similar to how something like a movie clip symbol instance or a button symbol instance works. Here we have a button symbol instance. And if we go into this, we can see in here that we've got a number of shapes, but we've also got a text field. So if we go back up to the main stage, select that item, and break apart, this actually breaks it apart into what we just saw. So a number of different shapes, and also this text field. And again, if we go Modify, Break Apart, again, it will break it into characters, and break apart one more time, we'll actually break it apart into a number of different strokes and paths and so forth. So this has been a demonstration of how to use the break apart command on a number of different objects in Flash Professional CS6.